How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Draft to the Future. I am one half of the team, Matt, and this is just your weekly update for how people have been doing. And I'm going to try to go through things as briefly as I can. Another ugly can't make that throw interception from Mendoza, followed by another, oh my goodness, what a great come from behind victory by Fernando Mendoza. I'm hearing some of the I'm starting to get a feel for like what others are saying. Um, he's looking like a top 10, top 20 pick. I would certainly take him number one overall if I needed a quarterback. There is a lot of enamor for Ty Simpson, and if Ty Simpson had 21 starts, then this conversation might be different. It wouldn't, based on my production formula and his size and his arm strength. It really wouldn't move the needle for me, but the starts is a far bigger issue than arm strength, all that other stuff. Mobility, size. I'm not a huge arm strength guy. I said I was going to be brief, and here I go. But I want to put things in perspective. Do I affirm that Fernando Mendoza is, a surefire Hall of Fame can't miss? I actually affirm that, the last one who came out was Joe Burrow, and the Bengals just beat him to death. And the guy before that was Andrew Luck, and the Colts just beat him to death. In fact, the worst thing for Mendoza to be would be a can't miss generational guy, because they go on really bad teams that rely too heavily on that talent. But I think he's, I still see all the comparisons to Aaron Rodgers, and I still stand behind that. And, the debates I have are like, well, he needs a team and he does this. Who doesn't? If Pat Mahomes doesn't go to the Chiefs with an all-pro defense and that head coach, is he Pat Mahomes? If Pat Mahomes goes to the Browns, would the Browns be better? Organization, fit, coaching. There are so many things. I just heard as I record this that they fired Brian Dable, which I think was a terrible decision. Oh, but he was losing and he was doing this and he was doing that. I don't care. He drafted the guy. The guy was playing well. Well, he's beating the guy up. Cool. What's the other guy going to do? It is very hard to put rookies through multiple coaches and multiple coordinators. But here we go. Here we go again doing the thing that never works and expecting something different to happen. And that's what gets me spun up. So Mendoza's QB1 for me. I understand that, not every throw he makes is amazing. Here's a secret. Not every throw every player makes is amazing. Here is what really matters. When he's supposed to dominate, he dominates. Would you like that on your team? I would. When he needs to get his team down the field to win, he does that. Would you like that on your team? I would. That's all I need. That's it. So if you want more metrics, sure. He was 61% on a bad day, still above 60%. Pretty cool. 7 yards per attempt, a little low, but not terrible. And I get it. The TD was ugly. I get it. He's thrown now, by my count, of 5 interceptions. He's thrown 3 ugly ones, and he's thrown 3 straight. 2 that were definitely bad. I can't remember the UCLA one or not. So I really understand that there are issues, but he's still performing better than he did last year. And maybe he goes back and continues to develop. But if he doesn't, I still believe in him. So he had a 15.6 big time throw rate against a 5.3 turnover worthy play rate. Turnover worthy play rate. He has overall 5.1 big time throws with only 1.9 turnover worthy plays. Yeah, when you're a quarterback, you inherently put the ball at risk when you throw it. But he makes almost 4 times more big time throws than mistakes. So that's my 4-minute rant. Let me see if I can catch up. Mikhail Kamara, nice job. 8 pressures, still no sacks. Mikhail Kamara might, again, for me, what makes the difference is the edge setting. The missed tackles are good. When you look at Shamar Stewart, there was just nothing there at all. I believe that Kamara is an edge setter with some pass rushing upside, and I wish the sacks were home. He got 40 pressures and only 1 sack on the year. I do wish he'd get home more, But I'd take if he's there in day three, I'd take him because there's Clay to work with there. So he had a solid game, 72, 70, 70 or above in everything but coverage. Zane Durant, same game. Um, Unfortunately for him, same performance. He has 17 pressures and 3 sacks. So, only 20 combined pressures and sacks. He had a sack in this game. Congrats to him. I don't want to take that away. I will say that Mendoza held the ball a little longer than you'd like. And again, the holes in his game are holes that I see, but they're not undraftable holes. With Zane Durant, 70 overall grade, 75 run defense grade, only a 58.5% pass rush grade, which isn't terrible. It's not there. But then a 48.9% missed tackle rate. He had another missed tackle in this one, and he's still now he's only at 8.3. But when he's bad, he's real bad. And unlike last year, he hasn't been lights out good. In any of these games, and that's kind of the rough. His worst game was a good game against a good team, but not. Let me see again. If he redshirted in '02 or '03, he really needs to go back to school one more year. Caden Green is still kind of impressing me. This time he faced Texas A&M, and he still had a 78.1 pass blocking grade. His run blocking leaves a lot to be desired, which, some people like kick him inside. I still think he's a guard, but that run blocking is kind of concerning. He was only at 54 at this point. He's only allowed, 2 sacks, a total of 7 pressures on 267 pass blocks. So, he can get got, but I'm impressed that 2 games against 2 if you want to go 3, because Auburn's got some dogs on that D line. So he's had 3 games in a row against SEC level guys, and he's held his own. So, I'm starting to wonder, do you put him out at left and see what you got? Because again, you're looking at 6'5", 324, a little small, kind of on the lighter side, but good. I know he can play guard. But he might have something to tackle. Solid game, 3 solid games, and that was what I asked from him. Play better against good opponents, and he did. Jake Slaughter played great. Florida didn't, but he did. 75 overall, 69.8 run blocks, 84.6 pass block. I don't know that Kentucky has any true elite guys, but he continues to show why he's, in my opinion, the best center in the draft. Even Connolly got hurt, and that's unfortunate, but I had Jake way above him, even before the injury. There's some, I like the Oregon center too, and the Iowa center, though he's really super undersized. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna believe in a guy who I believe in. He's proven to be reliable and steady and even great, if not elite, in a lot of ways. So solid game for Slaughter, even though he's on a team that's really underperforming. Harold Perkins, I gotta say, against Alabama, he played better. He had a sack. He had no missed tackles. Even his coverage was, okay. He had a 94.6 pass rush grade, 81 tackling grade. So this was a great game for Perkins against a great team, even though they're really underperforming as a unit. In coverage, he was targeted 6 times. He still had 5 receptions. So there's room to improve there. But, he only allowed 35 yards. And the no missed tackles is really something. So I still want him to come back for one more year, personally. But, you keep playing well against good teams on a bad team, and someone's going to give you a shot. I don't know. I might let him get out of it third. And I know early on I was like first round grade, and he was playing like it. I don't know if I take him in the third, but there's no planet where I let him get out of fourth. There's just too much talent there. So you got to see what you have to work with. But I think if you go back and he works on that coverage ability, then he could be that first round talent I think of him. And you never know when you get him in the next year. You kind of project. what his potential is very different than what he is right now. Chandler Rivers, it's steady. It wasn't his greatest day. He had a missed tackle, and that wasn't a great thing. And he's had too many of those, in my opinion, this year. Coverage wise, he's still kind of scrappy, reliable. He was targeted 9 times, 7 receptions, but only 56 yards, and he's been targeted 39 times, and he's only allowed 1 touchdown. Those are things worthy of note. He's definitely a guy I think I can bring in, slot him at nickel, and believe that I got a guy who's gonna be there, make plays, and always be around the ball. So I think he's a top 100, definitely a round 3 at latest guy. And he didn't take the step I want him to take, but he didn't fall back as far as some might lead you to believe. So it was a solid game, at least in terms of coverage. So not his best, not something you're going to write home about, but his worst games are kind of this way. And for the record, UConn is a team people should be talking about. Do I think they're a playoff team? No, but man, they got some people performing on that squad. Tanner Gazoil targeted 9 times. That's kind of his average. 8 receptions, kind of his average. 66 yards, kind of his average. 8.3 yards per carry. So he's just kind of proven himself to be that solid, reliable blanket that he is. He's going to be underappreciated because he's so massive. He's not going to do the athletic testing. But I would still take him and be very happy because he's a chain-moving red zone guy that people are underestimating. His pass block, well, I don't. If you're pass blocking with a weapon, I don't know what to do for you. Let me see if I can find his run blocking. His run blocking, not great, 52. So again, I'm not saying he's a first round guy, but you could do with some red zone threats. Eric O'Neill, kind of a solid game against Maryland. Let me see here. No. He had 3 pressures, no sacks. He only has 4 sacks on the year. Kind of the same deal with Kamara. Like he just kind of stood up and did his job. But he sets the edge, contributes on defense. He's not one of the elite guys, but he's proven to be, someone you can put out there on a rotation, especially in the early downs. And all my other guys are either injured or not playing. So that's kind of my rundown for the week. Keep tuning in for our updates. We'll keep that up. We got some stuff planned. We're looking at some small school guys with an expert in that field. I think we're next going to look at our team. My shadow team's not doing that great. We got some guys hurt, and to be fair to myself, I got a lot of guys working through bye weeks right now. But we'll see how it all goes. But thanks for stopping by. We'll see you around. God bless, and see you around.